What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 3 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Belegar Ironhammer campaign. So as we saw last time, we got ourselves a pretty awesome battle at Matorka, fighting the ogres of Skrag the Slaughterer, destroying his main stack and his best defended location. And there is still Karak to consider, and it will have some nice units in there. And on top of that, we've got ourselves into something of a dangerous situation, as Wurzag has come out to play and will be attacking Matorka. Or at least he'll be attacking near it, or at least will be attacking him as he's jumped over and is going to oblige by standing there while we attack. Now this may be somewhat dangerous, but we should be able to take care of him, I think. Just got to be a little bit careful about losing our more hurt units, but we do have a pretty decent amount of superiority due to the relative lack of armor piercing on the enemy orky units. We still have early game superiority because we are dwarfs. Now, before we get that battle going, let's get some rangers. This is going to be quite the investment at about 10k. Do we want more, though? The thing is, we can use rangers as a second line as well, at least in comparison to the dwarf warriors. Let's just actually see. They are less armored than the dwarf warriors, fairly considerably, but they fight reasonably well in melee, and they are shielded as well. And just out of curiosity, so the rangers have a base 10,000 HP, and the dwarf warriors... Okay, wait. And the dwarf warriors have 15,000 HP, so quite a bit more in that regard. But we heal rangers much faster than we do with dwarf warriors. So, assuming that we replace you and possibly the quarrelers as well, could replace a couple more dwarf warriors just to give them to our second army, rather than having to build them. Yeah, you know what, once again, it's quite the investment and it'll be expensive, but this should power up our main army quite a bit and allow us to go on our journey without too much interruption, at least I hope. Ooh, looks like Lucchini has also been taken here, and well, this is another reason why we want our second army. If the vampire coast of Aranessa gets too strong, we'll have to deal with it. And frankly, we probably don't want to. Now, we also want to check, are these guys at war with anybody? Still just at war with Paravon.
You would already be dead.
I'm tempted to do this nonetheless. A few of our allies, or a few of our other potential allies, might not like us fighting Paravon. I wonder if you would care. You're at war with Clan Scryer. Would you dislike us for fighting Paravon? That's the question. You're trading with Astalia and Mettelzen. You know what? I still think we should probably try to declare war on Paravon just to keep our relationship with the guys a little bit not so bad. We'll see. Propose offer.
Very well.
Alrighty, and, well, it's stuck at unfriendly, but it's not decreasing. Yeah, they don't like us allying with Karak Norn, which I guess was a little bit of a mistake. But oh well. I guess that's going to be a problem for Durthu as well. Well, we knew that one at least going in. Anyway, let's upgrade Karakazor to Dwarf Outpost. We could switch Masters of Stone and Steel off now, and give you back empower the guilds for that extra growth, as it otherwise is going to take absolute ages. I'm also tempted to see whether another lord could give us some growth. Recruitment cost. Smedner, eh? That's interesting. And we could reduce recruitment cost further by recruiting with you, or rather than with Kalon. I was gonna make him our recruiter lord, but right now it's looking like he's gonna be our builder lord. And we can just get Mason on him if we can somehow level him up at some point. Oh, you don't even have a recruitment cost reduction in the blue line, do you? Oh, okay. Well then, I guess that's the only way to reduce recruitment costs. Well, I'm sure we'll have Karak 8 Peaks. Well, if not shortly, by the time that we need a second or third lord, so I think it'll be fine. Anyway, Belegar. I don't believe we have any more items to spread around, as in no new items, so it's time, I guess, to attack Wurzag. Let's take him out. We'll have to be careful here, but Close Defeat the game at least recognizes that the enemy is gonna have some tough times fighting us. They have no artillery, and while they have a massive numerical superiority, well, it's deceptive. Now let's go with that. He does have quite a bit of magics though. We'll need to try to take Wurzag out as fast as possible and watch out for his spell spamming. Yeah, definitely gonna have to target him. Anyway, here we go. Should be a fun time.
A surprise?
You suppose, do you? Okay. What a battle cry, Belegar. Alrighty, here we go. An exciting, massive battle we had last episode against Scrag, and it looks like we'll get an exciting rather, massive battle against Wurzag this time around. I also do believe Wurzag has a very nice defeat trait. I want to say physical resistance and something else that I don't remember, so if we can win here, it'll be pretty good. If we can't win here, we just back out and then fight him again or allow him to attack us. That said, I'm actually reasonably confident. This looks worse than it is. Our army may be very badly damaged, but I do remember in previous campaigns, I think the last time I played Dwarfs was with Thorek in Total Warhammer 2, but it was also SFO. I do remember holding a hill in a very similar situation against 3 or 4 full Skaven stacks, and A, it was absolutely epic, but B, it certainly showed how long the Dwarfs can hold because of their relative unwillingness to rout. Granted, we don't have the same kind of buffs that the AI does, and their leadership increase, but I'm sure that's okay. Plus, we still have our ranged units and the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, where it was not super effective against enemy ogres, should be very, very useful against massive piles of savage orcs. Anyway, it looks like the anthill has been kicked. The enemy is annoyed enough now to charge us based on the artillery hitting them, so we're going to get the artillery back up on the hill, and we're going to try to hold the hill here. Alright, here comes Belegar and the ghosts. And the reason we've deployed here is specifically because, well, it's basically the only real good big hill. This is also decent, but this big hill is better. A and B, we have a pseudo wall here. This is impassable terrain where this dwarfen lord statue collapsed. So we can use this as a wall and essentially just keep the enemy blobbed up here, which is certainly to our advantage. Anyway, here come the enemies. Looks like our ranged units are now in range and will begin firing down upon them. Here comes that ballistics calibration as well on all of them. Here comes the ballistics Dude, the Q was there. Did I miss it? Oh, I did miss it. Okay, yeah. I guess it was before the Q. Well, either way, ballistics calibration, meaning we're doing a little bit more damage to these guys as they move in. We are going to send our heroes and lords forward for a few seconds just to pop that Rune of Wrath and Ruin, and then we'll charge immediately down. There we go. I gotta love that spell. And just a huge contrast between that and the ogres. Then we're just going to back out our lords and then charge our infantry in so that we don't abuse the heroes and lords charging forward mechanic. Even though it's probably best on Belegar. I got Thorek on the mind now ever since talking about him. But I still like to commit to melee. Plus it looks awesome. Alrighty, and also this now feels kind of appropriate, you know what I mean? The very small numbers of dwarfs holding back a massive tide of greenskins. From a loreful perspective, this feels a lot more right. Same thing with the Skaven and the Thorek campaign. I remember thinking that this feels like it should. Look at that giant pile of orcs being held back. The enemy AI is also certainly not taking advantage of its boar boys. What it should have obviously been doing is charging our relatively unprotected range units. We actually kept back these 3 units that are of hurt dwarf warriors and hammers here, specifically to try to protect these guys from the enemy's charge, but it looks like the enemy doesn't even want to bother with it. We've also targeted our artillery via ground target somewhere in this area, and are also firing most of our ranged units into this blob here as well. Looks like the impassable terrain is coming in real handy and forcing the AI to blob up. One of the things about SFO making battles longer, it certainly means that positioning is even more valuable, I think. And there we go. Look at these piles of orcs. If we had 2 runesmiths and another Rune of Wrath and Ruin to hit that, would have been great. But I think one should be sufficient here for now. Ooh, very nice shot from those grudge throwers. And our range units, I think, are going to be absolutely cleaning house in this battle. Look at those bloody spots. Our melee is also still holding, with our ghostly units essentially leading the defense and fighting with their men. And the enemy orcs still refusing to try to move around our battle line. But it's also one of the advantages of the kills, that they want to go uphill and they fail to do so. We get a Rune of Oath and Steel, I believe, coming down to increase our armor, but while considering that probably doesn't do much here, our melee defense. I also want to point out that we've had our Sniper, as well as our Thunderers, targeting Wurzag for basically this entire battle. If the Thunderers were at full HP, I'm sure that they would have brought them down, but Dramar here is not going to do much damage. 808 damage dealt only, and I guess he probably misses a lot of shots due to the dance that Wurzag is doing, the dodge dance. I guess if anybody's gonna dance, it should be Wurzag. Lorefully accurate as well. Alrighty, keep holding Dwarfen line. Our leadership is still pretty okay. A few of our units are winded, so the vigor is starting to drop, but it's still pretty okay in the form of our center line not collapsing. And there we go, and now at this point, though, our artillery remains firing into the biggest blob of enemies there, and our Thunderers and our Sniper try to continue on Wurzag. We've switched most of our ranged units to fire on the enemy Orc Error Boys, and they have a Gobbo unit here as well. No, just piles of Orc Error Boys. Actually, Savage Orc Error Boys and regular Orc Error Boys. But these guys have been annoying our own ranged units, and now we definitely need to hit them back. Otherwise, they will deplete our ranged units, and then who's going to kill all these piles of enemy orcs? Now, another rune coming down, but this is the rune of the Master Rune of Speed to increase our melee attack and to get some of that vigor back that we've been starting to miss. Belegar's also fighting out front in a big blob of orcs, I'm sure, and doing plenty of damage. Again, some absolutely glorious battles in this campaign so far. I'm enjoying it greatly. I missed SFO so much, I gotta say. It's not that I don't like vanilla, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love vanilla. I love this game in general. It's just that the battles really needed to be that slight bit longer so we can enjoy stuff like this. Alrighty, well, a decent amount of the enemy orcs seem to have routed, but are obviously coming back as they like to do. A little bit similar, once again, to fighting the Skaven in that you tend to have to fight and rout Skaven units multiple times. Otherwise, it looks like our melee units are starting to get depleted, but the enemy is routing at the same time, so it's kind of relatively even. Or is it? The balance of power is still in their favor, but it is creeping forward, so I think it's about to change shortly. How's our ammunition looking? Our Rangers and Quarrelers are both starting to run out. We'll just need to keep replenishing their ammo. There we go. Looks like even more orcs are routing. Wurzag's still in the field, and it does look like a decent amount of the savage orcs have been shattered, although a few will come back yet again. Another Rune of Wrath and Ruin ready to come down in the blob of enemies here. There we go. And that should be some nice morale damage as well. Yeah, this was a pretty big mistake by the enemy. It essentially tried to move forward with the rallying units and run away with the routing units. Kind of realistic in terms of what would happen if some of your forward units were to rout into your main army, and I guess that would happen in real life as well, but that allowed us to take a massive advantage of that and Rune of Wrath and Ruin overcast and hurt them pretty badly. Wurzag is coming up, dancing around while getting hit by Quarrelers, and we are going to send our killers forward and hopefully bring him down as well, though Belegar is currently distracted trying to get that Night Goblin Shaman. In the background, we also have the Savage Orc Boar Boy boys who have managed to actually get a quick charge into our rangers. Unfortunately for them, A, while they're already basically out of ammunition, and B, we were able to pop that entrenchment to get that physical resistance up right before they charge. So, no real big damage. Alrighty, and there we go, the bounce of power has crept forward. It looks like the Night Goblin Shaman is surrounded. Wurzag is down to about half HP, and the enemy will start running out of troops shortly, I'm sure. And we still got all that range support. Very nice. Not much to say about this anymore tactically, as it was just a matter of attrition at that point, but it looks like we've got it. The enemy chain routes, and the battle is finally ours. Now, immediately, all of our range units switch to targeting Wurzag. This army will escape. This isn't an underway battle, it's a pseudo-underway battle, in that he was in underway stance, but it isn't a underway interception, rather. And if it isn't an underway interception, his army will survive, and we don't want to have him casting spells in the next battle. Let's see if we can manage to kill him before he runs out of range. It's going to be very, very close by the looks of it, and he does have all these units of Savage Orc boys just standing around and acting as meat shields. Come on, somebody snipe him. Ah, there we go. We do manage to bring him down, a back full of arrows, and we will be unable to catch the rest of these units, and there are still quite a few remaining, but at the very least, we damage them all pretty darn heavily. Wurzag is down, and maybe we can even catch this Night Goblin Shaman. He's moving at 28 speed, and we've got 32 on our Thane here, which means we should be able to catch him and kill him. Beautiful. Never expect a dwarf to actually catch anything, but it does look like when it's about taking Groby heads, that's when they're willing to run. Beautiful. With that, we're just going to speed it up. We don't need to do anything else, and the battle will end as soon as these guys are out of range, which is now. A heroic victory, considering the fact that our army was pretty badly damaged going into it, but there, well, like I said, there was a reason I was reasonably confident, as the enemy didn't have the right army type to take advantage of what we had. Anyway, let's see the damage on us, and let's see whether we're still viable to chase down the remnants of the Bloody Hands stack. Alrighty, very nice, a heroic victory for Belegar, though it did cost us one of our Dwarf Warrior units. That's about, what, 2.5k gold or something along those lines, which is a shame, but it'll be replaced by a Ranger shortly. Worth it for taking out Wurzag and, I want to say most of his stack, and I suppose we could just get the gold back that we lost on those Dwarf Warriors by executing and looting. Nice. Alrighty, now we still have to destroy this army, although by the looks of it, if we do, or when we do, and ooh, that's a very nice buff for Belegar. The extra physical resistance will make him more in line with his ghost pals as well. Belegar and the ghost pals. Yeah, so the problem with attacking this army again is we'll most likely be out of range of being able to destroy Karak and Gazar. Though I guess Adolphus is probably going to move up there, though it looks like he can't hit them in one turn anyway. There's also a very strong likelihood that these guys try to attack us again at Matorka, but they've already failed once, and I do imagine that they will fail again. Now, Belegar, you've got a point, and I guess we gotta go Tactician yet again, unless there's something else that would help here. When do we get Venerate? Rank 15. Okay, it's gonna be a while. Lord of the Deeps could be helpful. Filth Slayers, whoa. Melee attack +4 when fighting. There's no ranged bonus. It's a little bit unfortunate, but Filth Slayers, yes, definitely gonna slay some filth. Usually not what I like to do to filth, but whatever. Let's see, now we need to get rank 10. That's still gonna be a while as yet. That's okay. Well, let's attack this again. We are hurt. The question is, do we need to mean, we could fight this non-cinematically. On the other hand, our army is hurt, and that was a pretty epic fight. I'm never sure. I mean, I guess we could fight the ogres non-cinematically. Yeah, the ogres are a smaller battle, and we're unlikely to get more than 2 cinematics in this one episode, I would think. And considering the fact that we're somewhat damaged, there is a decent chance that we could still lose units. So this would make this battle a little bit more dangerous, I guess. Yeah, alright, fine. We'll fight this one, right? We'll fight this one cinematically, I guess, even though there's probably no need. No need in the sense that we fought it already. But it's still just so fun to watch, damn it. Screw it.
Yes, yes!
Alrighty, here we go. Another defense with massive amounts of losses on ours, or massive amounts of casualties already present in our army. That said, the enemy army has also suffered massive amounts of casualties in the previous battle, and thus we should still be able to hold. Once again, it looks worse than it is. That said, we do have to be careful about losing a few units. We're down to 170 HP only on Throny Ironbrow here. He may be immortal, but we are definitely reliant on casting that Rune of Wrath and Ruin, so we don't want to be losing him. Otherwise, though, we once again have a hill to defend on. Pretty much, what? I want to say 3 out of the 4 or 5 last battles that we had, other than the Scrag attack, we had a hill to defend on. So once again, we do have the superior terrain. And I guess against orcs that makes sense. They may not be cunning enough, especially with the lack of Wurzag or a leader here, to take advantage of any terrain. And of course the dwarfs feel like they would entrench in a proper defensive position as well. Unless they had a pile of slayers that just charge the enemy. Anyway, here we go once again. The hill shall have to hold. We have our melee units just spread out in small lines, effectively. Granted, this increases their surface area, as it were, so more enemy units can hit them, but this is mostly just to prevent them taking as much damage from the enemy range units, hopefully, as well as potentially more damage from our own catapults, as well as to just try to cover as much area of the lower side of the hill as possible to prevent the enemy from charging through. Obviously, our range units are already doing quite a bit of damage. One of the enemy units is basically done and wavering already. Though it looks like the enemy is doing a good job trying to hit us in the flanks as well. Look at that. They've spread out a lot more than they did, ironically, when Wurzag was leading them. And these guys look like they were going to go up here, but one of the reasons we deployed up here, besides the fact that this is a hill, is that once again we have a pseudo-wall to rely upon in this piece of impassable terrain, this tower here. We also have a Thane, our hammerers, and our dwarf warriors holding the side, so I doubt that the enemy breaks through. And if they don't break through, they'll simply get killed by our range units. Also, it looks like the enemy's center line is basically non-existent, which means it's just a matter of defending both of our flanks against them. Granted, with extremely small numbers. But you know what, I don't regret doing a cinematic battle for this. It's not looking like it's going to be a difficult fight, but it is once again really fun to see these smaller number of units after the massive numbers of units in the previous battles. I like my variety, and I like to see this sort of thing. Speaking of liking variety, as I do in all my campaigns, once again for those unfamiliar, we'll be building lots and lots and lots of different types of armies. I generally don't like to use the same army composition twice in a single campaign, except where we're extremely limited by unit variety by virtue of the roster of the faction, or in the early game where you don't have a bunch of variety in terms of the units that you can recruit. But generally, we'll be building lots and lots of different types of armies. Generally speaking, the things I want the most are like an engineer army with lots of engineers and grudge rakers and trollhammer torpedoes and whatnot. And then an Air Force army is also should be pretty fun. I was very tempted to get the Thunder Barges mod, but I think the SFO, the like sub-mod that makes it balanced with SFO wasn't updated when I checked. And I also don't know how balanced those units are. As in whether it's actually, it actually throws off the balance. I'll still take a look at it though, especially if it is save game compatible. Anyway, let's check back on what's going on in the actual battle here. The bounce power is creeping forward once again in our favor. We're at about 75%. Our rangers have managed to pretty much destroy the enemy ranged units and have won the ranged war here. It looks like this flank is also pretty much failed, and we just now have to hold where Belegar is currently leading his force. Of course, where the fighting is thickest, he likes to take Urky heads. As well he should. And there we go. After all the Urky heads he's taken right now he's just missing some Iraqi heads to add to his collection. Maybe he should steal some Aqueeks. Alrighty, and there we go, a decisive victory. Of course, all we had to do here was see the enemy off, because the enemy army will be destroyed after this. We are also don't want to suffer more damage from our own catapults or our own range units hitting our chasing units, as they are already badly damaged enough for us to be very concerned about even a few units of losses. A decisive victory means that we shouldn't have lost too many units, and maybe our army still remains viable to destroy that nearby ogre army as well. Though I think that one we don't need to fight cinematically. Considering how easy this was, that one should be even easier. Alrighty, very nice, and just like that, the Bloody Hand's main stack is no more. I guess we're gonna take the money again just to recover some of the troop costs that we've taken, especially since we'll probably want to build that second army. Now, we are in fact in range of Mr. Gorg here, so we could destroy him, and I think this is a... yeah, this one's not worth fighting cinematically, it's just too few troops, though... he might back off enough so that we won't actually be able to catch him. I guess we'll have to see in a second. Let's assign some of our skill points first. Still don't need We Are the Elite? Yeah, no, it's gonna be a while. I'm gonna keep checking. Let's get you Blade Shield though, although... maybe Scarred Veteran could be the better pick here. You already have quite a lot of melee defense. Although it's only 15%, it's not 30%. Nah, I'm still gonna go with Blade Shield. We'll go Scarred Veteran after. And these guys still get they're still gonna get a very decent amount of value out of the extra HP. What do you have here? Rune of Hearth and Home, that's definitely what we're going to ooh, no. We are going to take Wardbreaker for the missile resistance. Honestly, they're both real good. For the next battle, it probably won't matter all that much, but the enemy missile resistance is just too good to pass up. We'll get the Rune of Hearth and Home immediately afterwards. You are going to get Flash Bomb, and Flash Bomb ye shall have. The melee defense, if nothing else, should be fairly useful, but it is fairly close range. Alrighty. Next up, we got the Thane. One of the Thanes. Let's get to you, I guess, keep going through Blade Shield. Rune of Grimnir doesn't actually help the rest of our army, and we want to buff up the army more than everything else, so. And Blade Shield. Oh, wait, Indomitable, what do you have? Do you also have Indomitable? No, you have Deadly Onslaught. Okay, so you, King Lun, are a duelist, whereas you, by virtue of Indomitable, are more of a tank. Alright. Alright, well that's certainly going to be helpful. Now, we are down to... ooh. Wait, 18 out of 20. Oh, did we lose another unit and I didn't even notice? Oh, it was one of the minor... I don't really care about those. We were going to stop using those anyway. Yeah, that's fine. And they cost us 87 gold per turn, whereas Dwarf Warriors cost us 118. I'd rather just build another Dwarf Warrior unit. Considering we're fighting at such low numbers, it shouldn't be surprising and that we've lost some units. Anyway, let's see if we can catch Mr. Gorgy. Gorg. And he is not gonna run. Oh, he can't run. He can't run because this is the remnants of Scragg's army, isn't it? Alright, well, let's fight this one real quick. We're gonna fight this regular style. Like I said, this, it's not really worth doing all the editing for cinematics, and generally speaking, I like to keep it to 2 cinematics per episode because it gets progressively more difficult to edit the more cinematic battles you have. It's easiest with 1, but it's already a pain with 2, and then with 3, I just want to jump out a window. Alrighty, come on now. Let's do this real quick. Let's blob up on this hill, force the enemies to come to us, but we would probably, since we're attacking them, I guess we do want to get in range, like so. And then you move forward, you can start sniping enemies. They'll probably run towards us. We'll actually probably want to put the rangers out front, as well as the quarrelers. And then you, and then Belegar and co behind them. Who still has decent amounts of HP? You, and I guess you. Put the rangers and co directly behind them. Like so. And like so. Group 2, group 3. We'll actually move all of you back in a second. I just want to set up the groups. Let's get, well, you're going to be up on the hill, so it probably won't matter. And then you guys, we'll probably want to protect you. Oh, actually, you have 15 troops. I didn't realize that. That's not so bad. Alright, group 2, group 3, just make you all one group. And all of you back here where you hopefully won't die. In fact, we'll probably want to hide Thrane so that he definitely doesn't die. He'll just be wounded because he's immortal, but nonetheless. Let's get you here. Let's get all of you. Let's say something like that. Did I not group you guys up as group 5? My bad. Let's get you back there. I think one of the good things also about using or doing cinematic battles is not wasting time during the episode for these setups, as they do take time. You're gonna be out here, you two are gonna be right there. The enemy has no magical damage, right? Oh wait, this is a Slaughter Master, but they still don't have magical damage. Alright, that looks good. Start battle. Will the enemy start moving towards us immediately, or yes they will. Which means you can go back. And we can readjust. You're gonna go up here. You guys are going to position yourself so you can fire down on the enemy like so. We'll make a gap for the Thunderers. Like so. Because we'll probably want to charge the Rangers into melee. Thunderers and... wait, where is our range guy? You. How close do you need to be for the flash bomb? Pretty close by the looks of it. Range is 75, okay. That's actually not that bad. Alright. And then you guys can now move up here. Everybody wait until the enemy gets in range and we'll do ballistics calibration. Let's wait, speed it up as well. There we go. Now, ballistics calibrate, go. You get ready to fire. You guys should be group 1. Oh, look, they're running around, that's cute. Ooh, they actually have a ranged unit here. Be careful with you. And flash bomb right there on you. And let's... doesn't matter. I was gonna stop their charge a little bit, but it looks like that it'll make absolutely no difference. Good, you guys can join the battle against those Noblars. You stay the heck back. And the battle should be ours shortly. Let's get that extra melee defense. You are gonna duel. And you are going to get the heck out of there. And you're gonna buff up Mr. Belegar, who is a little bit hurt, but he'll be fine, I'm sure. This enemy army will be destroyed in a few seconds. Also, I guess we don't really need to... ooh, hello. Are you gonna try to chase down one of our hurt ghostly units? It's okay. We'll do that. We don't actually need to chase the enemy, we just need to, well, chase them off, like so. And... alright, you're gonna move through. Thunderers, thunder away at him. And let's just watch his death. Hey, 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 hey. Catapult. Or whatever you are. Grudge thrower. Don't do that. Well, you are a catapult, but let's not hurt our own unit. Now, these are ogres, so a lot of their units will come back. Will this be destroyed? You know what? I'm not sure, but let's make sure that we do as much damage as we possibly can, just in case it doesn't get destroyed. We will, however, speed it up. Will you die? No, it looks like you won't die. That's okay. Oh, you guys can actually catch this to some degree? Maybe. Alright. Volley. Into this. 67, okay, yeah, we're not getting any more damage out of that. Alright, let's see if this army got destroyed or not. If they back off, we'll back off as well, most likely. And 3 losses. Actually, a little bit more than I expected there. Probably due to the fact that they got charged. Oh, I should have popped the expert charge defense a little bit earlier on Belegar. Or does Ogre Charge, or whatever the rename of it is in SFO, negate that? Well, either way, the melee defense would have helped. It was probably a couple of deaths on the charge, and actually 3... Oh, we only lost 1 unit. The other 3 were from that shot from that catapult that hit our own dwarf warriors. Yeah, okay. Somebody just shamed their ancestors, that's for sure. Another 800 gold. You know what? I think we'll drink to victory this time. A little bit of extra growth, and indeed that army is destroyed. Now you... Can you return to Matorka? You cannot, okay. Well, I guess we'll stay out here then. Enemy killed in battle. Assured assailant. I'm actually surprised that we never got... Well, I guess it'll take a while. I was thinking of the bloody trait when you suffer a lot of casualties. It would have been actually somewhat useful here. More for Belegar, but I guess we'll be getting that later on, if we continues to suffer casualties, which may not be the case outside of these battles. Anyway, with that, we are unfortunately once again pretty much out of time, and I am going to call the episode here. Next time, Belegar will attack Matorka Camp and Dodbet and possibly Karak Eight, though we might also just stay around a little bit and heal up, which will allow the enemy to possibly build up a new army, but by the looks of it, it's not going to matter all that much. The healing is basically non-existent here, a local effect, that. We'll probably want to move into Matorka for at least a turn, but that'll allow our Callan Furrowbrow Lord to move down here and transfer those units, so I think that'll be fine. And then after the ogres are dead, I guess we'll walk through the Bloody Hands territory on the way to Eight Peaks. A little bit out of our way, but not so much that it'll be annoying. We're actually reasonably close to Eight Peaks, so it'll only take like a few turns of travel there. And as long as Barak Var is alive, they can protect us from anybody attacking us from up there. Anyway, stay tuned for more Belegar. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.